Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We talk everything animation here, including She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, which we'll be getting into right now. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by Delaney Stovall.
Hey, y'all.
Michelle Anderer.
Hello.
And April Collins.
Hi there.
We are talking the final season of She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, Season 5, which came out today on Netflix. We've already binged all 13 episodes, and we'll be giving you our reactions to the epic conclusion to one of our favorite shows that we've been covering since the beginning.
Ever.
Ever. Okay. Well,
Ever.
speak for yourself. Okay. So, we'll see if I don't know. We're not going to get into the legacy show. We're going to be reacting to the crazy stuff that happened. So make sure you've seen all of season 5 of She-Ra and the entire show, because we're going to get to spoilers right away, because I know that we can't contain ourselves. So we're just going to get right into spoilers. So
that's right.
Go watch the season. Then come back and listen. Spoiler warning starting now, and also overlyanimated.com, youtube.com/overlyanimated for all of our past She-Ra podcasts and stuff. Just the first thing is, like, what were your reactions to watching the season? What are your reactions right now? How are you feeling now, having seen the season, Delaney?
I mean, just screaming the whole time. Like, the whole season, it was so good. And, like, you know, I was so worried. I talked about it in the trailer. I was, like, so worried about the trailer podcast, about what was going to happen and what we were doing. And it was just so good the whole time. And then we got to the end, and I, like, lost my mind. I'm still losing my mind. Like, this is how I felt when Korra ended, and I, like, can't handle it. It also just means I'm going to be really, really sad tomorrow because it's over. Because She-Ra is so good, but it's on Netflix, so I'm going to rewatch it immediately. Oh my god. I've, like, rewatched the final, like, 3 minutes of the show, like, 6 times. Like, I can't handle it. Like, which is exactly what I did when Korrasami happened, so it's fine. Oh my god. Like, I'm still so revved up. So, context. We all binge watched it today, right? Well, Delaney got done at noon because me and my fiance started at 6 a.m. because we couldn't be on Twitter. Like, we were like, we have to do this right now. Like, no spoilers. So we binge watched it, and then these guys didn't get done until later, and I was like, I have no one to yell at. And, like, me and my fiance can only yell at each other for so long because, like, oh my god, my chest hurts. Like, I'm probably gonna throw up. Like, oh.
Okay, there you go. Dang. We hope not. We hope no one throws up or passes out.
Wasn't there another podcast where we were like,
do you want me to get a trash can for you?
Yeah, no. This is like the second in a row for you, Delaney.
Yeah, it's like the second podcast. Delaney's gonna throw
You're just
up.
very excited about things recently.
Very excited.
You're like a little kid. I love it.
I have a weak stomach. I'm gonna throw up. I'm so excited.
No, please don't. We hope not. Okay, but Delaney got through it quick and is still hyped about it.
And I was really pestering Dylan. I was like, Dylan, are you done yet? Are you done yet?
I had some work to do, but still got it done pretty early. But yeah, and then Michelle just finished the season, so fresh reactions from Michelle. How are you feeling?
Oh my god! I just finished like a half hour ago. I woke up at noon and just binged it like entirely through. I stopped twice for food. Because I'm not a fool. I've been on the podcast. I know it's going to be a while talking here. But, like, oh my gosh. I have such a headache. And like, my body is so tired. But that's, like, the best kind of feeling for me. Because it means, like, I screamed a lot. I cried a lot. I got very excited. And, like, now I'm just, like, a floppy shell of a person. But it's, like, good. It's nice. I mean, I wasn't super worried that I wasn't going to be satisfied, but I think I also, like, I try to keep my expectations, like, somewhere in the middle, but also assumed probably they'd blow me away. And they definitely did. I mean, there were so many moments. I think, honestly, like, half the time I, like, legit cried was just seeing Adora become She-Ra in her new outfit and, like, how her muscles stand out. And, like, when she's holding Catcher, I'm just like, this is the gayest fantasy I've ever seen.
When she transformed the first time, I, like, lost my mind.
Oh, I screamed, and at the end I screamed a lot too. Even, like, before, like, the really good payoff where Catcher's just like, she doesn't love me the way I love her. I'm like, okay, that's it right there. We all know what that means. So, like, just a lot of screaming all the time, but very good screaming. I feel really good. I'm very proud of this show. I think they definitely stuck the landing, and I'm probably going to rewatch it a lot. Like Delaney said, it's all on Netflix. It's just right there. I can watch it as much as I want now. It's all finished.
It's all it is all finished. That's sad, but yeah, and
It's so sad.
We'll see who
It's a
rewatches
good-
She-Ra first.
Like,
y'all making big claims. Okay.
Big claims.
I'm gonna go rewatch She-Ra right away. I mean, that's probably true.
I've already started. Thank you.
We're gonna see
No, you
how,
didn't.
we're gonna see if this
Shut up,
challenges. I've rewatched Korra so many times. I'm curious if I will reach that same level with She-Ra, if I'll rewatch it as much.
And same day as this season, Avatar is on Netflix for the first time.
I know
in forever.
they suggested
And
it
they
at the end.
suggest
I'm like,
Avatar
yo,
at the end.
they
That's so
know.
great, right?
They know what company they keep.
That's
It's
so
amazing.
great. So yeah,
They know what we're here for.
Oh, especially since the entire finale was literally the finale to The Legend of Korra.
Except for the very blatant Utama motif, which is the gayest
Correct.
motif of our modern
That's-
age. So, I'm also just very happy about that.
yeah. Michelle got that in early. That's good.
Oh my god. I saw it. I'm like, yo, they've watched the crap out of Una, which I'm not surprised.
Well, I mean, it was so funny
Okay.
when she did her transformation the first time. My fiance was like Sailor Moon who, so
Yeah.
with She-Ra's new transformation. Oh my god!
Yeah. Okay. April, give us your reactions. How you're feeling about She-Ra?
So I feel very raw.
What a description.
Yeah, I think that's the only way to describe it though, is because like Michelle, I try not to go into any type of season, especially the final season, with any real expectations, just because I like to be pleasantly surprised, and if I'm disappointed, I can't be well, I knew I was gonna hate it. It's not a good setup. But I guess if I'm really true and honest with myself, I knew that this final season was going to be amazing. But that's besides the point. I left, I cried, I screamed. I woke my husband up because I was sobbing. He was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I'm fine." And he's like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna go back to bed."
Sure.
And I'm like, "Hey, baby." So, and from the screaming too, he's like, "You've been screaming, now you're crying. Are you being attacked?" No, I mean, my
Is it
emotions
She-Ra
are-
Day?
Yeah,
You were being attacked.
there
Just not physically.
emotional attack. There were it was great, and like I said, I feel very raw and emotional, so I'm not gonna be surprised if I cry at some point while we talk about this. Tomorrow I'll probably feel really good, but so that's kind of where I am. This final season was so much more than I could have wanted it to be. And yeah.
Yes. Okay, that's good. Everyone apparently is gonna break down on this podcast. That's fine.
Yes.
Absolutely,
That's fine.
Dylan.
That makes sense.
We're gonna have tears, screaming, and I'm gonna throw up. It'll be great.
Okay, not that last part, but okay.
I've got a
that's
fucking for you.
Okay, I feel great about this last season. I think this is the best season of She-Ra easily, by far.
Oh, yeah.
I'm happy with some things, maybe underwhelmed by other things in She-Ra, but this season is just everything I think you want it's complicated because on one hand, this was the big gay explicit romantic ending I've been talking about for all the podcasts going on. I got everything I wanted with that, but it's with the ship that I don't even ship, and I knew this was it's coming, but it's still mixed reaction. But it's I think this season does a great job of buying you into Cachador and building
they
it up
sold
the whole way
me.
through. Yeah,
I'm on that ship.
Yeah.
I had to ask my fiance if I could come
If
on
only
the
it
ship.
was
She told
this.
me
I
no.
set
happy the
all
rest
my
of
other
it.
ships on fire, much in the fashion of Seahawk and Mermista.
Mermista set it on fire. Yeah, that was true love. There's so much romance. Oh my
But
god!
I discovered the OT3 though, so I'm okay with that.
What's the OT3?
Oh, it's Glimmer, Catcher, and Adora. Obviously.
Yeah, you can throw a bow in there or something, but a lot of Glimmer and Catra. That was great. Season's really good the whole way through. It's especially strong early on, which is surprising. I think some of the best episodes are in the beginning.
Episodes are crazy, and then you don't even know you're in the middle of the season at one point. You're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
I lost track at a certain point. That I had to start taking breaks in between episodes so I could figure out where I was.
It's okay. We don't need to know the difference. That's fine.
No, we were just watching it, and
It's
all of
all
a sudden we
one
were like,
long
whoa, we're on episode 9.
Yeah.
I think the finale's so good and gorgeous. I feel like you want to rewatch like the last 8 minutes of the finale, so you get the kiss in there, and then into like the epilogue-ish sequence and stuff, and then the giant fantasy ending, and it's really amazing. This is better than I thought. Like, better than we've seen She-Ra, better than I thought we could get from She-Ra. And I totally, we're all so skeptical of an explicit romantic ending involving Adora or any main character. And we just get it and then some. And in general, just all the potential romantic endings.
There were all of the, there were all the things you wanted. Sometimes you just get a kiss or an I love you. Actually, you never get an I love you. This was incredible. We got an I love you and a kiss. And then we got the Korosami ending, which I was like, wow, you did that on purpose. Now I hurt more.
Yeah, the only thing better would be if Adora's like, Catra, I think I'm gay. And then Catra's like, no crap, everyone is gay in this world.
Literal
that would be the only better
That's
thing.
the only way it could have been better. We were like, yeah, duh.
Yeah, because I don't feel like you don't come out on this world, but that would fit their
That's
version of it.
Better. And it would have been Swiftwind being like, duh.
It was no good Swiftwind ending. I'm thinking about that. Where was the Swiftwind horse companion? Where was his revolution?
He doesn't need one.
Okay,
He's
there you go.
fine.
That's enough
He's
Swiftwind discussion.
Scorpion.
Okay, never.
Horse and a bird. He doesn't need anything else.
Yeah, he is a horse and a bird. That's true.
That was.
Okay, a lot of things to get into, and I'm particularly happy with a few other things in the finale and they did towards the end. I was surprised, just very surprised with the direction this whole season. This is like the She-Ra I was always hoping for, and it's the payoff, it's the happy payoff to all the angst before, so it's the part you love the most. And I'm definitely connecting with it the most. Obviously, first thing I want to talk about is how gay the end of the show is, and the whole season, really.
The whole season is so gay.
Yeah.
Obviously She-Ra is gay, but then they were like, let's crank it up to 11.
I guess we get this is a milestone, the first same-sex kiss between two main characters.
Yes.
Yeah, Ruby and Sapphire, maybe. I mean, they kind of count too, but, the two main characters of the show, it's crazy. Also
the show, funnily enough, I was talking about this with my therapist, who I had made her make her children watch the show. Anyway, because I had therapy right after I finished. It's fine.
Yeah, how'd that go?
It was great. It was me. I literally I screamed about She-Ra for the first 20 minutes of my therapy session. It was great. So the thing is also this isn't just we have a gay kiss at the end, kind of what they got with kind of with Voltron. Adora and Catra are the DNA of the show. The relationship defines everything that happens. It is the central conflict. And for them to go to have done this is incredible. Not only is did we get it, but it's it's the literal point of the show.
Yeah, and it fully pays off in
That's the thing. It comes full circle, and I think that for me was the I always knew Catradora was inevitable. That's the thing when you start watching the show. My fiance is mad at me, but it's fine. She's just because I don't ship it doesn't mean I don't know what's going to happen. So Catradora, inevitable. You knew it was going to happen. You just didn't know how or why or when. And then for them to do this full circle and then to completely sell you on it in the final season is just crazy. Especially because we had talked about it. Catra is at her lowest point. It's season 3. And then, are we on season 5? I don't know. Season 4.
Yeah, we're on season 5.
Everything is so confusing because the way they split things up.
Yeah.
Anyway, lowest point last season, and then now we're here. All of it. Over to do it. I was shocked because I wasn't sure how they were going to do it, and I think they did it perfectly. And it just everything from with Catra and Glimmer, and then we really see that struggle. It's almost like we spend even more time with Catra than we do normally, and it's great.
Yeah. This is a big Catra season. And a very quick Catra redemption, if you want to call it that we get. We're talking a lot about that.
But it's not rushed.
Yeah, we'll talk about it for sure. I feel like we've been talking about Catra as the DNA of the show the whole way through. But I do think people were out on it in terms of shipping it, but also maybe in terms of it happening, particularly at the end of season 3 when she almost blows up the world.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not ashamed to admit that I was one of those people.
Well, I didn't ship it. I shipped Lemmer and Adora. Like, I couldn't, I was like, nope.
But I remember distinctly telling people, I was like, yeah, like, the last season of She-Ra is coming out, and I swear if Catradora happens, I'm just gonna scream on the podcast for like 3 hours out of anger. There's no anger. I'm not mad.
No, that's that was the legitimate fear I had, was that however they were going to do it to get Catradora at the end, that it wasn't going to be satisfying.
Yeah, and I think that's something to be said too, is that in the way that it happened, it was satisfying. So I was like, okay, so we had to get through like the first 4 seasons to get to this point and to make it okay. So, and I agree with Delaney. I don't think it was like rushed. I think we just like it took its natural progression.
Yeah, and through all these ups and downs in terms of shipping it, in terms of thinking it's going to happen, I feel like I've been consistent saying it's going to happen this whole time. So hopefully you're prepped for this last season. And but I don't think it was always a given that it would end this way, so explicitly. Mm-hmm. And reading interviews with Noelle, those that are starting to come out, it wasn't even something that she was aiming for right from the beginning. I think that it seems like it's something that she only tried to get going in the middle of production. She didn't think it would get approved in the beginning, and then she just goes for it in the middle, and then it does get approved. And big kudos to DreamWorks. I mean, they're on fire with Rep. I mean, maybe the leading company with Cartoon Network at this point, in kids queer rap. It's hard to see this happy of an ending for them with all the angst we went through. Michelle, how does it feel? I feel like you were someone that was shipping them at least part of the way, the whole way through. How does this feel like such a cathartic, complete arc for them at this point?
I mean, it does. I think along with like April, around the finale of season 3, I was just like, whoa, this feels like a new kind of just not acceptable place Catra has gone with her actions to hurt people, specifically Adora. I don't know how they can fix this, but I think the really nice thing about the season is even though they get Catra and she makes amends like in the first half, they still have the back half of the season to purse out like, well, okay, like maybe we're technically on the same side, but we're not like okay with each other yet, or maybe okay with ourselves in Catra's case. And there's like all this stuff with Shadow Weaver, like all the loose threads that have been the backbone of why there were fractures in their relationship to begin with in season 1. I feel like they really took the time, especially in the second half of this season, to address those, to make it get to a believable point. And I just like remember feeling like when Catra finally like tells Adora she loves her, and like my reaction was like, oh god, like she said, but it's also like, well, duh, like we all like we knew from season 1,
right? She just didn't
that
know
way.
That.
Yeah, but then like
it's because Adora's the dumbest person.
But like it's also like Catra's like, she's like, yeah, like of course I love you, and Adora like gives her like this look, and she's just so happy to hear it like out of Catra's mouth. That's like what she needed, and it's just so nice. And it's like, yeah, that's what I needed to like. I just like we all knew, but like so we need to hear it too sometimes, and it was really good. So like I think like the season did a really good job of just showing that Catra had hit her rock bottom. She's trying to figure out a new place in life. She's always been afraid of being abandoned. I really appreciated the new flashbacks they gave us, just showing like Catra's insecurities of, Adora having other friends, of her not knowing how to have friends outside of Adora. I think that's a big part of, a part of like the puzzle that was missing in terms of us understanding Catra's reservations maybe for changing. But she's able to get that. She's a part of the friend squad by the end of the show. And I feel like she really benefits from that. And it seems to make her really happy to be there. So I think, I totally bought it. I do appreciate that it was not instantaneous. It took a while for them to really reach a point where they could just like, you know, all feelings on the table, no more walls up. Like, this is the end of the world, so we might as well just be real about it with each other. And they were. And then the lesbian love saved the day, and that's always gonna feel nice. So I really liked it. Like, yeah, I was really concerned, but I think like a lot of it's just like a lot of it depended on how Adora was gonna take it. And the fact that she was willing to go all in with Catra, because Catra's never stopped being important to her. Like, yeah, like they've been obsessed with each other every season. Like, it's not a surprise that she would still want to, you know, fight for Catra and want Catra to come around. And Catra's finally at a place where she can, like, do that for herself and think it's a good idea and not just want the worst things for herself. Like, she wants to, if Adora can believe that Catra deserves better, then Catra can believe that for herself too. That's like kind of how I took it. So it's just really good. I'm just really happy. They spent a lot of time specifically on their relationship. I think if I had a qualm, maybe it's that Scorpia didn't get as much time as I wanted. But, like, that's okay. Because, like, Catra and Adora were always the heart of the show. So it makes sense that their relationship would be built up the most.
Yeah. Scorpia brainwashed for half the season, too.
I know. And she's very menacing and very powerful. But I don't know.
You know, Scorpia has her climactic moment last season, you could argue.
That's true. That was definitely her, like, big moment. And, like, you know, she gets to be very gay with Perfuma now, and that's all okay. Like,
yeah, that's a new
ship. I think there are more gay ships in the end of this than there are. I think there are 2 hetero ships.
There is not one hetero kiss.
Yes,
I know. There's gay kisses and no hetero kisses. What a world!
You'd think they would have Bow and Glimmer kiss, but it felt like they were making a point by not having any.
I loved it.
So good.
Forehead is amazing.
So good.
Yeah, do you want to go through all the couples? That's one of my not as important, but we got Catra, Bow and Glimmer, which could be its own discussion thing. Its own discussion point. Hordak and Entrapta kind of had an ending to them. Natasa and Spinnerella, part of the Queer Up, they have 2 kisses this season, and they're kissing in the title card for part of the season.
It's great.
Their kiss in the epilogue type segment is really amazing.
It's great.
Siaka and Mermista have a love confession. Kala and Rogelio have a background moment.
And a baby.
And they took the weird imp baby. That was good. Scorpia and Perfuma, ambiguous, but there seems to be some attraction there. She says something about you're looking good at them.
She says you look like beautiful or something. You know she likes her. And they danced.
They danced, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Perfuma ships. I didn't see this one, because there's like Bow and Entrapta.
Yeah, no, I wasn't ready.
When they like welcomed her, like Perfuma was very nice to Scorpio from off the bat. I was like, oh, like maybe
makes sense. They're the 2 nicest people. So okay.
Yeah,
that's good. Just so much romance. Like, I'm always complaining about not enough. This is great. Even Glimmer and Bow. I mean, do we want to spend a second on that? Like, they're very close. They reconcile quickly.
I loved it.
I honestly like this is the most happy I felt about a hetero teenage ship in a long time. I fully support Glimmer and Bow.
Good, yeah.
They're such good friends, and the season spent time with like Bow, like feeling especially hurt. Like, I think it makes sense Adora came around quicker because, like, you know, she kind of regrets some of the stuff she did too, but like Bow's known Glimmer from way back, so it feels like a much deeper betrayal, and he needs more time. But it's just so good. Yeah, they got a real bond. I totally bought
Adora shipping them and her like.
Yeah, I know. And like Bow has like an amazing outfit, and Catra has an amazing outfit.
But we can talk about we don't get like a super flash forward epilogue, but we get Adora's imagination of one that I think kind of acts as that, which is great.
Yeah.
You see all them older. And they're all just bonding, and the two couples, and Glimmer and Catra.
And I love that Glimmer's trying to brush Catra's hair. It's so sweet.
And Catra's like, no.
I love that they put that segment in there. I love that. That's such a good way of doing that sort, because it always feels a little cheesy if you have it at the end. Right. But this I feel like it works with Adora's character moment, and and it gives everyone what they want to see. I really like that idea. But Bo and Glimmer, I've always said like, no, they're not romantic. They're friends. Part of that's because I'm shipping Adora and Glimmer. Did we? Here's my take. Did we have the homo lens on with Bo and Glimmer, which is the opposite of the hetero lens?
I mean, honestly, yeah, probably. But also, like the show was just so not interested in exploring it on a deep way, which I love. I love their restraint with that. And they just saved it for Catra and Adora, really, and Scorpia.
I think that, like, restraining, like, putting the restraint on the Glimmer and Bo romance, like, only further gives, like, I mean, obviously, like, Catra and Adora was, like, the end ship of this show, but I think that, like, them getting together in the end feels a little bit more justified just because there wasn't so much emphasis on it. Like, at least that's kind of how I took it, was that, like, I was not upset. I was just like, this feels natural. Because, again, like, we're all about establishing these natural relationships. And so it would just be natural that, like, two people who, are friends for as long as they have, that, they develop feelings for each other. And, yeah, that was, like, they end up being romantic, but they're not, like, explicitly romantic. So I think that's kind of nice as well in terms of, like, them, saying that they love each other. Like, because when I first watched that scene between the two of them, I was just like, oh, like, they're just saying they love each other, like, in whatever way that they feel it. I didn't take it as necessarily
it's
like this.
It's like when Catra Dora happens, it like affirms them.
Yeah.
Which is like crazy.
Because they say I love you too.
Opposite.
So it's a mirror, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense for them because they're just like best friends and have been forever. So that's like their version of escalating their
so
relationship.
Like I didn't take that as like outright romantic until later, that I was like, oh my gosh, like they're together too. All right. Like
all right, yeah. I was upset no Seahawk Mermisticus, but
I
got a
do not
declaration.
need them kiss. It's
I needed to see it. We got the amazing plot relevant declaration of love to them. Back to Cachador though. So, which you never thought I'd say, but back to more Cachador discussion. Obviously, I mean the thing is that other than the stuff at the end, which you have the declaration of love, the kiss, them together, their foreheads together and stuff at the end. They're like, and also like, I wanted to go back to also Catra as part of the best friend squad. I feel like that's even more, that's like even more unpredictable, like coming into the season than anything else. It's like, wow, she's come so far that she's like an accepted member of the best friend squad too.
Okay, that's also like the best part of like the early part of the season is them like in their shenanigans, like when Catra's like in Adora's lap and they're all like just pestering Adora. That's like the best.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, so there's so much like casual ship stuff with Cachador throughout the season. I always felt they're very like touchy throughout the season.
Yes.
And,
yes.
Yeah, and there's like a great moment, and I feel like the third to last episode when she's like, "You went through fire to save me."
It's so funny.
Yeah, she's like teasing her about it. She's like smirking. Catra's like, "Shut up."
Yeah,
so good.
That's a great one. There's their like epic fight with Catra being brainwashed in the 5th episode.
Oh my god, that episode like traumatized me. Like,
even like just the name of it is the best thing in the world.
Save the cat. It's for Michelle.
And then like, have we not talked about how Catra has a cat now? Like, that's the best thing you could do.
It's true.
Look,
Catra cat.
As someone who has struggled to find Catra sympathetic in the past, giving her an animal companion was the
really
number one move to like that was. They should have done this a lot earlier. That would have been the thing to do. After you do that, it's like full on audience favorite. And new haircut, animal companion, like they went all out for Catra. And then she just like she transforms, holding
new Catra. Okay,
new Catra.
New Catra.
Yeah, new cat, and she transforms holding Catra.
Oh my god,
transformation sequence, and
the transformation sequence is really like, oh my god. Also, like I'm like big gay for like her new outfit. Like, I'm big game.
No,
for
seriously,
shoes.
it's so
she's
good.
big.
Like
It's
her
amazing.
platform
Ooh.
shoes are amazing.
Oh,
She's
I
already
just- I
8 feet
can't
tall.
handle
it.
Let's make her
Pantsuit.
taller.
I
Guys,
know.
it's so good, and her ponytail looks so like
It does,
so
it's amazing.
badass.
It does.
It's like, damn, I
Ugh.
didn't know. I never knew a ponytail could like be that cool, but it really is.
I literally, when that happened, I was like, oh my god. Also, like, so, transformation sequences are not our favorite thing. But
I don't hate them. They're fine.
Redoing it in the last season, redoing the transformation sequence, and then only
That's
doing
a
it twice,
bold
right?
move.
Yeah.
Only twice,
I
yeah.
was gonna say though that I was like, there were a couple times when like she would transform, and I was like, man, I wanted to see the sequence again because like it was so
Right?
good.
She looks so good.
This is like the only time I wanted more transformation.
Right, yeah. No, she
It's
goes.
just so satisfying though too.
Oh,
like
it's like full
because
Sailor
you know,
Moon.
like it took her so much to become She-Ra again.
Yeah.
Like
And this is like she's like fully realized She-Ra. Like,
yeah.
oh,
No,
it's so
in
good.
the sequence, she's like, like the.
It's so
that's,
good.
That's my audio description of
Yes,
the
I know.
look she
That's
gives.
what I
So
say.
good.
Every time it happened, I was like, "Oh my god, it was just so good."
I don't know about that, but okay,
so
yeah.
hot. It's crazy.
It's way over the top. That sequence is great.
It's ridiculous. Like,
It's
like
so
literally
good.
so good.
Wonderful. Okay, you leave
It's-
us alone.
Look, it is wonderful. I agree.
Like
That's
honestly,
it.
like book 3 of Korra, like you worked so hard through books 1 and 2 to get to book 3, and that's what this is. Like you worked so hard to get to the final season of She-Ra, and you're like, I deserve this.
Yo,
I
let's-
deserve
let's-
this transformation sequence.
That, and let's talk about that in the context of Catra's Catra redemption, her quick turnaround here, because she's like, we're like coming into the season, and the trailer podcast we're like, is 13 episodes enough for Catra to become a good guy? And she's there by episode 5, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, by episode 3, we're kind of even there with Catra. Certainly way quicker than any of us expected. I think we've heard the opinion so far that it was not, it didn't feel forced or anything, though.
No.
Right.
No,
Well, I
not
mean,
at
when Glimmer
all.
said, "Do one good thing in your life," I was like, "Oh my god!" And then
Yeah, I was like, "Dang, Glimmer."
That's such a good way of doing this. I like, it's such a clear like message and theme, and fits
And then
Catra
when-
so well.
Yes.
and then like when they were talking about what they missed about Etheria and what they would be doing, and they were bonding over Adora. Intense Glimmer Dora moment, by the way. But they
I was
were
thinking
like,
that, yeah.
but like that was that was extremely like also when they just kept seeking each other out because they were lonely, but also just Catra like one like the fact that she was seeking out Glimmer, and then like I mean Catra's turnaround on the ship I think is like also they do it so well because it is a struggle. Like she goes along with it, but then when it's Adora, she's like, no, I can't do this. Like, and even Horde Prime, like,
He gets it. He's like, "Oh, she
Yeah.
means something to you," and Kendra's like,
Yeah,
"Why
yeah, yeah.
no?" He's like,
Yeah, and so like she gets called out at like every turn.
yeah.
But then like I don't know, like I think that's part of it and just the intensity of it all. Like they did a really good job in like the first 3 episodes to really sell you on like Catra. And then also I think also like this is also I mean Horde Prime is scary. Like everything at this point that Catra has seen is terrifying. And then the thought of him getting Adora.
Yeah,
Well,
I
and
will. Go ahead, April.
I was gonna say, I think there's also something to be said about like the loneliness factor in terms of
Yeah.
Catra's redemption, because like not only is she like she's taken this to such an extreme, and then what did it end up getting her? She's in space, which I would be freaked out with that alone.
Yeah.
But not only that, but she's essentially alone up there. So she has no one but her own thoughts, her own feelings, and she has to face all of those. And I think that's why like there's so much like depth to her seeking out Glimmer too, because like the one person that she ever truly felt connected to was Adora, and the closest thing she has to that is Glimmer. So just her seeking out that companionship like says so much. And the fact that then she like goes on to like help Glimmer escape and everything else, like there's so much to Catra's redemption in such a short amount of time that makes that like it feels justified and it feels earned.
And also, like, there's still, like, as much as Catra acts all, and I think that's the thing, too, is that, like, fall away. Like, I think the biggest moment for me, which obviously she was, like, under coercion, but when she came home to Glimmer with that piece of cake, that, like,
Oh yeah.
to me, that was, like, it sounds dumb, but that was a really big moment for Catra. Like, to like to show like even like the barest like hint of kindness. And like and I think they've done a really good job of like obviously like one, I've never like Catra's an incredible character. Whether you're sympathetic to her or not, like from the beginning is like a whole other thing, but like just what they've done, like, and also I think that's another thing. We also touch on more of the abuse that her and Adora suffered in this season. Like we witnessed a lot of it, but then also like we really do, I feel like, delve more into it in a way that like, or at least we can see more the impact that Shadow Weaver had on both of them, and then to have them together, I think does a lot also to like for you to sympathize with like this is why Catra is the way she is. Like she did everything she did so she could survive.
Yeah, seeing all the stuff with Shadow Reaver towards the end with the two of them with Shadow, I think that's all really good. I think
that was messed up. Was watching them like them having to watch her die. That was messed up.
We'll get to that. That's a topic I want to talk about. But I do think it's a good point. The context, just the situation Catra's in, is very ripe for her doing the things she did, and that's like very believable. And I do think like watching the season, I'm like a big Catra skeptic. Like why this season, I don't know what that means, but this season, I don't know what that means, but what they did with her, it feels really good, and it's all very believable within the context of this season. Like,
I think it's also like for Adore, we wanted Catra to be good,
and you're rooting for it, so you're more like primed to say like this is realistic. I like, and I do think it's a good, regardless of whether it was like too fast or not. I think it's a good move to get to the good stuff. You know, like this is they mine so much good content out of Catra being on their side. I think throughout this, and I think it makes sense with where the plot went. Everything that happened this season made sense. I think if you look back on, 4 seasons of the show and then it's like within 3 episodes is her turnaround, I think that feels a little bad. So I wonder how it's going to play on a series we rewatch. I think within the season it feels great. If you just see the last finale stuff and you go right into this, I wonder how it is. But I think it's okay. It felt a little bit like we fast forwarded.
Well, we did. I mean, we watched her fall apart. Like, I think that's the other
last
part.
Season was a lot of her falling apart.
Like, she literally, like, lost her mind. And I think that's also, like... Because, I mean, that was really when she felt the most alone, was last season when after Scorpia left and, like... I mean, she literally went crazy.
There's a lot of priming stuff last season.
So I think... And honestly, I think it might play even better on rewatch to watch, like... To watch Catra go from her lowest point... Also, I want to watch, like, the first season again, because, like, what a magical time.
When everything was all nice and well in the world.
When we didn't have... Yes. Can we talk about Hordak being small potatoes? Like...
Yes, he was small potatoes.
Oh, my God. And then we get to Hordak Prime, and it's Horde Prime, and we're like, oh, my God, why?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like, Wrong Hordak was more of a prevalence in this season than Hordak was. Like, I love Wrong Hordak, though. What a great range the voice actor has for these people.
Yeah.
Wrong Hordak is wonderful.
Amazing performance by the voice actor, sure. I mean, the last thing on Catra, I feel like a big component of this being so quick is just that everyone was so quick to forgive her. And I think that just speaks, like, to our main trio. Their empathy and their like views on Catra. It's like, like what's redemption other than just choosing to start doing better things and then having people accept you, and that can be really quick if
exactly
if you have people like Glimmer and Bo there.
Well, Michelle talked about that during our last during the trailer podcast. And I've been really thinking about it a lot in the past like week, and then like when watching the show about like the importance of forgiveness, and it really like I think they did a really good job. Like when Entrapta forgives Catra, I thought that was really powerful, and like also just the fact that that Catra apologized, like that's the thing. Like I think because.
Catra's starting to apologize to people. I mean, it's like Catra goes to their side, like, and then it's like, okay, she's with them physically, but then she starts to do these like normal person empathetic things, and it's like, oh my goodness, who is this person? Like, this is a
real human.
That's how I felt. Those things do like come later on, so I do feel like the season builds up to that really well too.
Right.
I think and at least like for me, it made sense for, I guess, kind of like Glimmer and Bo to sort of be more on board with it at first, just because they weren't as close to Catra before everything. And so that's why, like, I mean, even with Adora, like, there's still like a little bit of distance with them between the two of them, which obviously goes away. But like when, like, the moments that Catra has with Entrapta, someone who she directly like impacted and did something bad to, like, just mean a little bit more because of that. So like obviously Entrapta wouldn't forgive her right away because she was like something happened as a direct consequence, whereas like Glimmer and Bo, it's not as direct.
Well, also Glimmer was like, listen, she sacrificed herself to save me. Whatever you want to do, Adora.
They bonded on the ship a lot.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. And also like that, they know how much Catra means to Adora. They know, like,
They're in general they're people that would forgive someone so quickly, and especially for someone close to their friend. I think.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like for Glimmer also, it's that, you know, she's also hoping to be forgiven by her two best friends for making mistakes that she regrets. So I think
she's apologizing.
She can understand Catra from that angle. Adora knows Catra so well that she sees so many other sides to Catra that Glimmer and Bo don't have access to. So they need to just like take her word for it. And Bo, I think, like, he's the one that maybe would make the most sense to have reservations, but he's also like the kindest, most open-hearted of the trio. So like it makes sense that all of them in their own ways would like come around to this because of their relationships to her, or just like who they are as people.
Yeah, it's like a perfect set of circumstances that gets Catra there so quickly, but the season portrays it really well.
Like, and that's the biggest reason why, you know, we can sit here and say like, oh yeah, it was quick or whatever, but really like it was set up perfectly for her, so I can't complain. Like.
Yeah, it all made sense. Like, and even with Entrapta, because, like, I will say one thing I really loved this season was how much, like, when people were yelling at Entrapta, being like, wow, you care about science and you don't care about friendship. I'm like, wow, it's like our podcast yelling at Entrapta in season 1.
Yes.
Like, the show team's self-aware of criticism. But it's, like, again, like, the reason Entrapta just, like, didn't even think to have a grudge against Catra is because, like, that's just kind of how her personality is. She's so straightforward thinking that she doesn't have grudges against people, which is, like, so, I don't know, it makes so much sense for me, and that's part of why I love Entrapta. She's just so focused on things,
also,
but doesn't
really
mean she doesn't care. What?
It really hurt, though, when she was like, I'm not really good with people, so I thought... And I was like, oh!
Exactly, which she's been trying to do the whole time. She's just been trying to make herself useful, and she thought by being useful, that would, like, make up for everything. And it's like, oh, baby, you're doing your best. We understand in your own way.
Yeah, I think in her own way. Comments on Catra's haircut?
I love it!
So good. Can you say something? This is just my personal thought, but... So when in the shot when Adora like transforms into her new outfit, and she's kind of like got like Catra like slung in her arm with like her like head up, it was just like the most lesbian thing in the world. I did kind of wonder for a second, like, wow, is this like the old, like, it did kind of remind me a little of Noelle and Molly just because of Catra's new haircut.
Oh, I think Catra looks a ton like Molly. I think she looks exactly like Molly.
It's so wonderful, though. I was just like, wow, like you can do really gay romance stuff that kind of looks like your wife when you have your own show. What a great power!
Like the lesbian power that is here is like really powerful. Like it's
I think Adora is like Noelle-esque. Like I think this is their self-insert couple.
Like the long hair, I was like, am I crazy? Like I need to separate art from the artist, but also like an artist made the art, so
that's like the first thing I thought with Catra's
right?
haircut.
Okay, good. It wasn't just I'm like, oh, this feels amazing.
It's interesting. No, it's just the complete transformation of Catra in all aspects, and like we mentioned, her magic cat, whatever his name is,
Milog.
Milog.
He's amazing.
But it's a cat.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, Michelle, what's your analysis of this cat?
I screamed when the cat came on because I'm like, oh yeah, there was a cat in the trailer, and I was like, oh my god, I imprinted on Catra. That's so meta, and she can speak cat, and like it was great because then they'd use the cat as a plot device. Like when Catra would be alone with it, she'd like talk to it because she couldn't talk to another person about her interpersonal feelings. You know, she's like, don't look at me that way. Like I know what I'm doing's wrong, or this is how I'm feeling. And she just say it to the cat, and it's like this is great. This is a great narrative device.
Also, it was so good. She'd be like, I don't like you, and then the cat, which is like the literal embodiment of her emotions, is all over Adora. It's amazing.
I know! Catcher purrs with Adora twice this season, and I freaked out both times.
So good.
Catcher purr, it's so good.
Yeah, what's your cat analogy?
Like, what? I'm sorry, this entire season was fan service, and I'm about it.
There's a lot of fan service. Michelle, what's the Catra cat analysis this season? She's even more of a cat, is what you're saying.
Cat.
Yeah, like she's so much of a cat, she has her own cat. Like, what more do you need? Like that's
is that how cats work?
She has her own emotional support cat. It's important.
Yeah.
For the record, most cats need an emotional support cat.
Yeah, Adora's like, this is my emotional support cat to Catra, and then Catra's like, this is my emotional support
correct.
cat.
Yeah. This is also my emotional
Milag has an even smaller cat.
Milag, great. I assume that's a thing from the original thing.
I'm assuming so too.
Milag's like, this is Catra, my emotional support cat.
Then Milag, this is there's a fan comic coming with this, right? Okay, yeah, a lot of great. We'll come back to Catra, I'm sure, but we can talk about. We can conclude the Catra overall. I feel like Catra is the standout character this season.
Absolutely, yeah.
Adora's also really good.
I will say Adora, like, I've never enjoyed Adora so much as this season. This was the first time I really felt like her taking control of, like, leadership in a way that actually I bought into and was super excited for. Like, she was just taking charge left and right, and it was really exciting because Adora sometimes has trouble making up her mind or knowing what to do or what decisions to make. And just, like, the fact that the power She-Ra was inside her all along, like, is so good. She made her own dang sword. Like, that's awesome. That's so amazing. Girl. I love it.
I will say the part that really made the most impact on me for Adora's character, and, like, I'm, like, biggest Adora stan. I love Adora. She's the best. But, like, her conversation with Mara, and also, like, they hammered this home, like, throughout the season, which I feel like this isn't something that most shows with this kind of, like, chosen one really get into, is, like, you know, when Mara was like, I didn't die so you could die. I didn't want to die. Like, the whole, like, I died so you wouldn't have to. And this idea of, like, you can choose, like, you are more than this. Like, you can choose love. Like, you can choose, like, what do you want? Like, like, this isn't where it ends. Like, you don't have to die doing this. Like, you don't, like that.
Yeah,
whole,
she
like,
says, like, you're more than, like, what you can do for other people.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh my god.
It was literally, like,
Catra, like, throws it in her face, too,
right.
before that. Because she's just like, you don't have to do this.
Why does it always have to be you?
Yeah, why does it always have to be you? And it doesn't, and that's one of Adora's biggest problems. And I kept thinking in that moment, like, yo, I wish there was an Angela right now who could do this again instead of Adora, because Adora's always going to want to be a marter.
Revival.
Yeah, rip. That is
so
rip,
I think at
the
she's still dead. I think big theme towards the end of the season is Adora's always wants to sacrifice herself for the greater good, and Catra's like, you shouldn't, you know, the people in your life are counting on you too, the people you're closest to, not just everyone. So you shouldn't default to sacrificing yourself, because what happens to me? That's kind of Catra's perspective.
Well, and that's also the whole, you know, Noelle had talked about it in the article. There were several articles. I'm not sure if they're the same or
a lot.
She's doing multiple interviews. They're coming out slowly.
So there was one interview. I'm sorry, I can't remember which exact interview it was, but she was talking about, like, the issue is to Catra, the relationship was always, her relationship with Adora was always number one. And, you know, when Adora sacrifices herself, or, you know, she always chooses the world over Catra, that, you know, Catra was not her priority. And that was really the issue, Catra. And so, and I think this is an interesting, like, I think this is a really interesting, like, take and way to go, because normally, like, it's like, you know, sacrifice the one for, you know, the good of all. And, like, to go through this story where, like, no one had to die. This didn't have to happen. Like, and like to let yourself have it, like let yourself like, because that was it. Like it's kind of, again, this is so influenced by Avatar, but like, her confusion about Catra because she loves her and she doesn't like, and she's so conflicted, she doesn't want to die, and then also like she wants Catra to love her back. That was keeping her like from becoming She-Ra, and like she would have died otherwise. So like I think like it's really interesting, like this, and this was something explored in Avatar, but I don't think not necessarily so explicitly, that like in this case it wasn't like it's these relationships. And, all the love Adora has for all of her friends. And actually, I don't know if this is, like, real or not, but I did see a post of someone was analyzing Adora's new outfit as She-Ra. I don't know if y'all saw that. Like,
no.
She has the heart for Bo and the wings for Glimmer on her feet. And then her helmet actually looks like Catra's helmet.
Ooh, I love that.
So I was like, oh, my God.
Oh, it's
so,
all
like,
three of them. Yeah.
Right. And then to have all of that, and then like, that's what, and that's the thing too, is this season, it's the best friend squad plus Catra. So like Catra becomes part of the best friend squad. And so just this, like, this message of like, you can be the hero, but you don't have to give yourself up. You don't have to give everything that makes you up.
Yeah, and not only, I think that definitely, and then also like, it's also important that the people are counting on you, that you're there for them,
Right.
That's like,
well, especially because like in the beginning, we touch base on the whole like Glimmer gets, I guess, captured or kidnapped or whatever, and then Adora's like conflicted about all of that because she made that promise to Angela that she would like she would protect like Glimmer, she would look out for her. And so it's kind of like I don't know, it's kind of interesting that she's, I guess being a little bit more selfish in the beginning of the season, where at the end she's a little bit more conflicted about it, especially when it comes to Catra. So
yeah.
That just made me realize, like, I guess there is like a big difference between being there for somebody like in your actual life and just making a grand gesture with the assumption that it will do better for everyone, including the people you care about, in a much broader, less tangential way. And the show seems to care very much more about being there for people in their actual lives than it seems very anti-martyr, which I love so much because like that's put on such a pedestal. Like there's no greater way to prove your love than to give everything away. And She-Ra's show is very much being like, yo, no, it's not. Because then you're not there to like help anyone else ever, and all these people care about you, and they won't have you in their life anymore, and it really sucks for them, and actually makes some things harder. And there's more than one way to care for people, and actually being there to care for them is like pretty good. Like I don't see that a lot, and it's nice to think that like that is like really good, and maybe that is a better way a lot of times.
And it's not like, and it's not necessarily a bad like characteristic that Adora has, but it's more of Adora lacks the complete self-preservation. Like
it's a flaw.
And I'll be honest, like, and this is something I've been working on with in therapy. Not that I've had anybody to like sacrifice myself for or anything recently, but like this whole like giving. You don't know what happens. I mean, but like,
saving the world.
You don't know. But like to give so much of yourself and never to leave anything for you. Like you can like, it's not being selfish to be like to love and to like want to have stuff, like to want to have happiness, to want that relationship,
or to want to be loved.
Yeah, which I think that's really like the real thing here.
That's something Catra probably understands with Adora so well, because even though they were coming at it from different ways, like the thing Catra always really wanted was love, and she struggled so much with her own ability to prioritize what she wanted. Because like again, I think back to like when she was talking to Glimmer, and it's like, oh, and Glimmer would say like, oh, I want to like have a sleepover, and we like do all this fun stuff we used to do. Like, what do you want to do when we get back? And Catra like can't think of anything. She thinks there's nothing left for her. And I feel like that's part of why she's able to ask Adora, like, what do you want? Like, what what do you want to do with your life? Like, it doesn't have to be this. Because I think, like, Catcher's struggled with the same thing in a different way for so long, and she, like, gets that it could be hard for Adora, too. To allow herself to want things for herself and to prioritize what makes her happy on her own, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good stuff there. It's a good discussion. You could get even deeper into these types of themes with the show. I think the season does a good job with that. How about some quick hits to close things out from parts from the season we haven't mentioned? I mean, we talked about Glimmer and Catra a lot, but they're
we didn't talk about the kiss. That's
they're bonding on the ship. The kiss on the cheek. Yeah,
I
wanted to
die.
That. It was amazing.
I wanted to die.
Sweet.
I was shocked. It was really good.
It was so good.
Look, let them be a throuple.
Yes.
Let it happen. That
They
should be
could
the
be
A foursome, whatever
Yeah,
the name
yeah.
that
I mean,
is.
that's
yeah.
what they're in. That's where
what
they're
the
going.
Red Squad is.
That's what it is. It's just
Yeah.
that's what. Yeah. So they're really good throughout the season, Glimmer and Catra. How about this ending? So Michelle's described it as their gay love like saves the day. Like someone explain to me what happens at the end because
Okay. I got you. All
Yeah,
right.
And if
Delaney,
she
go
doesn't,
ahead.
I got it.
So like the best, like I actually saw a tweet that I thought summed it up really well. Was that so? Adora cannot become She-Ra, and so when Catra's like, "I love you," Adora's like, "Oh my god!" And that kind of brings her back from the brink, like she was dying, and so that makes her like awake enough to be like, "I love you too," and then so that was like the block, like the chakra block in Avatar that allowed her to become She-Ra. Also, someone was like True Love's Kiss, and I was like, yes, this is what we're doing right now. Yep. So it allows her to become She-Ra, and that's how she doesn't die because she's no longer infected.
So does she put the code into the thing?
Yes,
like,
that's
to
what
deactivate
happened.
the weapon.
So she was dying from the infection,
And then after that, she starts naturing everything, making everything
Yes.
grass.
Because
so what's
the
that?
failsafe has been activated.
well, also
Is that the
she-
failsafe?
No, it's also. I also think this is because she is now her ultimate She-Ra.
Yeah,
Like,
she's all the
before,
power.
She has been flickering, like throughout the season. We see her flickering, which was also really neat, like visually and also like metaphorically. But like, and at this point, I think like the failsafe was just to destroy the weapon. Like it was basically Etheria's defense against what the first ones had done, which was make the
I
weapon.
feel like that wasn't clear that
It
would have
wasn't,
been activated.
That was
No, it
here's the
wasn't.
thing that the thing that Shadow Weaver and Cast a Spell were talking about is that the heart of Etheria was the magic of Etheria. So like the first ones had locked all the
tied
magic
together. So that's what she's
Yeah.
doing at the end. Is she's
Yeah.
returning the magic
Yeah.
to Etheria. It's
Yeah,
kind of the
she's-
same thing.
Yeah, it's basically like bringing the spirit world back, which is literally what happened.
I mean, that's the thing. In general, this is just like this is your Deus Ex Machina fantasy ending to the show.
It was
It's
great.
like very Avatar Korra type.
But
ending.
it was lesbian kiss and it was great.
Yeah. But I thought it was a great version of it, you know?
Yes.
That's the thing is, I don't think
Yeah.
Shira's plot has never been super detail oriented, to say the least. I don't
Also,
think
you don't really understand Shira's power, so it doesn't matter. It's
I
like
don't think
when-
anything makes super explicit sense in the show.
It's
so it's
magic.
I think it's a big
It's not
jump.
supposed to.
Yeah, it's magic. It's
Planet.
fine.
What more do you need? It's Magic Planet. It's fine.
But yeah,
Magic
so-
Planet.
Yeah.
She has the code still flashing on her after she's magicking everything. I thought maybe she didn't activate.
Well,
the
that's
failsafe.
because she had to take the magic from the heart inside of her.
Mm-hmm. So now
And they
she
said
has the
that.
power.
They said that was going to happen, and that
Yeah.
she would
Yeah.
believe
But
Oh,
it-
so now it's always in her, and the
Yeah,
symbol
yes,
represents
yeah.
that. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
because she had to take it or she would have died.
or
Yeah.
the world would have exploded.
Yeah.
I think that. Yeah, I think all them. Yeah, I like the explanation that getting rid of the heart is bringing magic back, and that's combined with her like fully realized Shira
I think
powers.
like the way I understood it, and I think they did explain it. It's just confusing because so much happens at once, and also because they say things like the heart and like the failsafe. Like these are words that don't really they're meaningless, but like. So, like, the heart is just all magic in Etheria that the first one's locked away.
I think generally She-Ra lore-wise, other than the Horde Prime stuff, the biggest thing explored this season was that the Horde Prime and the first ones, all of these people were corrupting the original magic that these planets had.
Or they
The-
were taking it away. Like
They're taking it away.
Yeah,
It's a very
deciphering it.
very anti-colonist type of theme that they're going for, basically. Very environmentalist, anti-colonialist, like colonialist, you know, like, so I think it all really fits. I like this. I feel like this is the most simplest, diluted message that they got with that they've had for the show, and I thought that was successful. And we also got a lot of lore surrounding Horde Prime. And we haven't talked much about Horde Prime as a villain. He's a dominant presence this season. I think potentially the best. I mean, we've had Hordak and Catra and all the, you know, Shadow Weaver.
Well,
I think Horde Prime is a very successful type of opposing force this season.
I mean, it's honestly like the first 4 seasons of She-Ra and this last season are different shows because, like, you know, I mean, there was definitely like threats and like, you know, I mean, hello, we like ruined the universe, but like. It very, you know, I was joking earlier, but like it was very much small potatoes in comparison to this intergalactic like empire and this dude who has like clones and he's eternal. So like I think it's really interesting how like once they like moved from the shadow dimension that it was just like bloop, just here's craziness.
Yeah, we said it was a reset. Definitely felt like a reset
because it kind of felt like. I mean, She-Ra's always had a plot. Like, each season has its own arc. But, like, you know, kind of more like kind of fun adventure, goofy stuff. And now we're like, oh my god, we have to, like, do stuff this season. Like, there are no time for games.
And it was, like, a good... I feel like it's a good backdrop to the things that are happening, the Horde Prime stuff, while also being interesting and exciting enough in its own right. That Horde Prime was really good, very charismatic, pretty interesting learning the backstory surrounding him.
Yeah.
It's
love his hair. I don't totally understand what his hooking up to the green goop means, and if he's ciphering like energy or memories or both.
Taking life force probably.
And like how often does he swap bodies with his clones?
And we saw his past lives, and then we saw that he doesn't even have all of his memory, like that he like he's so ancient that he only like contains that's so much interesting stuff.
I love knowing he was like that old though. Like that does make him more intimidating. Like he's been around forever, doing this forever.
Just generally, like this is one guy who has conquered the universe, and like it's just him. He has clones of him. It's not a civilization. It's just this one.
Right, man. And also like, and he was very much also a Thanos villain. Like he wanted to end the universe to bring peace because he's crazy. And then like,
and then at the end he's like, oh, I can't conquer it while everyone's dying through the fire.
Yeah. And then like
I love how he would use the language of like little brother, little sister. Like it felt very like religious / culty. Cool. Yeah. And like the way he talked about how like you guys are out of line, but like if you just like come into the light, like it
also
all
the chants. The clones are creepy.
Those made me laugh every time. It was so ridiculous. It was
it's very culty. And then at the end, I feel like we learn he believes it too at this point.
Yeah,
No,
totally. He's been drinking the Kool-Aid longer than anyone.
Oh yeah, all the Kool-Aid.
It's just him. It's just his self Kool-Aid.
It's his Kool-Aid.
Of this, it's so enjoyable to watch.
But it's just been himself for like ever. So of course he's
just
drinking
crazy
that
at this
Kool-Aid.
point. Yeah, okay.
And I think we had to have this villain for Catcher to be redeemed because she could manipulate Hordak. And then she like straight up killed him, so you know.
Right, yeah, it's the force that instigated or that was Catra needed for what happened. Yeah. And I do think this is like, it does kind of feel good as a wrap up to the show's plot just because it's nothing to do with anything, but also it's like the escalation of the Horde plot. The whole show's the Horde, and then this is the biggest Horde. But also it's like all the first one stuff, and then we learn that they're wiped out, and here's the guy that wiped all the first ones out. So I think it kind of ties up well.
We get to see like other, I guess, like examples of like the Horde's impact on the universe too. Yeah. So like we saw that one
rebellion.
Yeah, so
like the Crystal Planet,
we had a few shots of a rebellion on multiple, but yeah, that was and then we just get the one Crystal Planet. We get these new characters that are only in one episode, but they're cool.
But then like the trophy room where he like gives Grimmer the ball. He's like, wow, this is the most.
Oh my god, when she
that's true. That's true.
And he kills them all. Yeah, that's dairy jelly. He's like,
all
this
the
is really rare
Jello
because that
cool
plant doesn't
Did you
exist anymore.
see Noelle eating the Jello? It was so funny.
Yeah, she said it was very alcoholic.
It was so funny.
And I feel like the other of the plot stuff, the mind control is like the big device that we used.
Oh my god, it's so scary. I'm sorry, the Catcher stuff was terrifying. Like that was, and I think that's honestly, that was something I was not expecting. Oh my god, we haven't talked about the most important thing, which is they kept changing the title card, which was amazing.
Yes, they kept changing, which it was really good.
But then also like that was something I could not have expected was this mind control, and then like slowly everyone like the thing was like you knew it was happening, but then it was a shock every time.
It's impactful because it's affecting our
and it's Spinnerella, and then like the Spinnerella stuff was like really dark, and then you get like when they get Mermista, like when she comes into the room, me and my fiance were like, no.
Yeah, not Mermista.
How they would use like whenever they were like brainwashed or whatever, they would use like pet names against like their loved ones.
Oh my god, she's like beloved. I was like, that's terrible.
I was like, no. Or like, what is it? Micah calls Glimmer like baby girl, and I was like, oh no.
So uncomfortable.
Yeah, not good. Yeah, Glimmer has to get Fetz to fight her dad. You get fight Scorpio.
She like beats him up.
Yeah, Mermista with
she
Seahawk
really
and Mermista.
does like zap him for everything she's got. I was kind of like, wow,
that's what you gotta do. That's what you gotta do. That's how Glimmer rolls.
How long has it been since she's seen her dad?
She was an infant. I think.
Well, she doesn't even remember him.
Yeah.
Oh, also Micah and Frosta, amazing.
Yeah, that was good stuff too. And then we get Frost Glimmer reunion. That stuff's good. I feel like the most effective with Catra in episode 5 is that their fight with the door, the mind control device. And then there's
my god, that like hurt my soul,
especially early on.
Okay, it's such a good episode.
Mm-hmm.
Last main topic I want to discuss, Shadow Weaver. So I feel like as much as like, oh my god, they actually did catch a door at the end. Maybe even a bigger shock.
No, this is what I've been saying to everyone. This is the biggest shock.
This is everyone. All I hear is, you know who's the true villain of the show? You know who's the most evil person is Shadow Weaver.
Yeah,
and fair.
I don't think that's true.
Well, I think after
is never okay.
No, she's definitely a villain, but I don't think she's as big a villain.
As we've seen in Horde Prime, I think you can't argue she's more evil than Horde Prime. Horde Prime tries to kill the entire universe. He's the worst. But Shadow, look, this is a reviled character by everyone.
This shocked me. Like this is,
and she gets with end. We were like, oh, here's a possible ending for Catra. She's gonna sacrifice herself to redeem, and they do it with Shadow Weaver instead.
It's the only way. But can I just say, I do think it's a little weird that like it felt so obvious after a point that Shadow Weaver couldn't exist in the world after the story, and for it to feel okay, but that Hordak does. Like outside of Mermista saying, we're all just okay with like this, like about him being around, like he straight up murdered and genocided so many more people. I don't know, I just think it's interesting that the show like draws the line at Shadow Weaver, but he can just rebuild. I mean,
Mermista's like, are we okay with Hordak being here? So I think the jury's out on that.
Priority.
Jury's out on Hordak being.
Well, I will say there is like, not that like these things make things better, but like Hordak has suffered. We've seen him suffer.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. We wore the mask. She suffered too, but I don't care about her.
She's apparently a lizard person.
Her suffering is different, I think, because everything she's done, she's acted selfishly. Yeah. Like the reason why she started doing dark magic or whatever was because she wanted to be more powerful, and then like she was rejected by the Sorcerers Guild or whatever they were. And so then she's like, okay, well, I'll just go be powerful for like the Horde. So she goes and does that. And then like, the Horde's done with her. So she's like, fine, I'll just go to the rebellion and be powerful over here and take advantage of Glimmer's magic. Like everything she had done has been for herself versus like, because eventually, like, even, like, Hordak has a moment, like, earlier on where he's like, oh, like, we can't blow up the universe or whatever. But, I mean, obviously, he still is a villain. I mean, he was still a villain at some point in time, but he's not Horde Prime. So, like, I don't know. I think that's the biggest difference is that Shadow Weaver's been a selfish being from start to finish. Like,
well, that was the thing is they, like, Entrapta, like, helped Hordak. There was no bringing Shadow Weaver back. Like, now I do see, like, Shadow Weaver loves Adora and Catra in her little messed up way, but she does. And, like, that's the thing is, like, she did so much, she did so many terrible things to them. And, like, that's
the main thing. I feel like that's why she's reviled. She is the direct cause of trauma.
She's reviled, for that, for sure. I mean, having April talk about this has helped me, because I guess, like, I can understand it as, like, there's hope for Hordak to just, like, you know, like the diamonds, like, he can now invest all his time and energy in trying to rebuild Etheria into a sustainable, better place. Whereas Shadow Weaver maybe would never be able to get to that point. Like, there is that moment where she talks to Micah's sister and she's like, okay, well, if you're really worried, like, then you need to stop me if I start, like, trying to get more power. Like, if she doubts that she can control herself, then that does plant the concern of, yeah, maybe she could never completely get over that urge to just have more power and control. And if that's true,
but she's
maybe
also I was gonna say she's also been really well at, like, manipulating people. Like, whenever she was talking to what's her face, I didn't believe that she was doing that, like, genuinely. I thought, like,
she says it's so creepy. Yeah, she says everything's so creepy all the time. Makes you hard to.
I've been saying it since season 1. It's because Shadow Weaver is sketchy.
Yeah,
I mean, she is sketchy. I mean, I guess.
No, look,
I can believe she would never just completely change. Maybe.
I don't think it's about like she just sacrificed herself. She could have, like, in another world she doesn't, and maybe she changes and stuff. You know, I don't think.
Well, that's what we were talking about, though. Is, like, you know, when we were trying to imagine this redemption for Catra, this was the only thing that Shadow Weaver could do. Like, there was no coming back from everything she had done.
Look, and I think for me the bigger thing is that the show did, like, a redemption thing with her. Like,
they did, and that was the thing. I like the fact that Shadow Weaver did it is crazy. Like,
and I love this. I want to say I think this is the most empathetic thing the show has done, because here's this character that just does feel very judged and reviled by the show, and for good reason, but also I feel like Shadow, you know, like, you're always expecting Shadow Weaver since season 1 to turn and betray everyone and be evil, and she's like pushed people in bad directions, but it's like, oh, the twist is she never did that. She did think she was a good guy, and she's still, like, a messed up person, but she was trying to generally be on the side of good. And she cements it here at the end. Yeah,
I think trying to be on the winning side.
Yeah, she's been trying to be on the winning side. I don't think it's.
No. I think it's fair, but I think in her head, she Noel's talked about it. I think she thinks she's doing good here at the end.
Well, I think she's
doing good for herself, but, like, in a very selfish, like, I want to be in the winning side because I care so much about power, and I never think I have enough power, so I gravitate towards powerful people.
You suspect she's trying to grab power this whole time, but she never does.
Well, my thing is, I think the true redeeming quality of Shadow Weaver is her love for Catra and Adora, which is also, like, the most messed up part about it, because she hurt them so much, and I think that's, like, what makes all of this so compelling is when, like, one, she self-immolates, which is, like, crazy, like, she blows them all up, but then to, like, you know, this whole time she's like, Catra, you're holding Adora back. But then when Adora is, like, goes back for Catra, like, she's like, no, you both go. And like she has pushed them, like, she's pulled them apart and thrown them together and, like, tortured them so much. And then to, like, her final act is to push them together. It's crazy. Like, honestly.
I mean,
like,
it is crazy. And she even tells Catra she's proud of her and makes Catra cry. And, like, I feel so conflicted about that, because it's like, Catra doesn't need your approval to be okay with her life, but it clearly still means so much to Catra to get her to say that, you know?
But then also,
like, it still matters to Catra.
She means a lot to both of them.
And she probably meant what she said. She probably was proud of Catra.
It was hard watching. It was hard watching.
It's just her. It's so like messy, which I agree with you. It is so compelling because it's so messy, and even though it feels so like uncomfortable, it's like it is a relationship that's important to both of them, and that was their mother figure, and that always will be a part of their history together. Is Shadow Weaver.
Yeah. And hopefully they talk it through, and we still want therapy for everyone, right?
Oh my god, they need so much therapy, like, so much.
Yeah.
Therapy.
Yeah, we've mentioned a lot of therapy.
I have my therapy right after. It was great.
Yeah, you talked about it. Yeah, the last defense of Hordak. I feel like maybe this season, gives more insight into Hordak because you see how all of the clones are so brainwashed and
Right.
stuff. It's like
I was going to say that.
It takes a lot for him to separate, I feel like.
It's not even his fault. Like, one, I mean, granted, we're not trying
on the other hand, wrong Hordak, quick turnaround, but he did a lot better.
But he was also separated from like the hive mind.
Yeah,
so.
that was like.
Was Hordak? I think Hordak was separated too, but he was still plugged.
I think he was eventually, but I think that it took longer because he was still like actively like connected. Does that make sense?
I feel like wrong Hordak was like a totally fresh Hordak, like I don't know, like he might have been brand new, so he really had no sense of anything for very long. So it was easy.
Hordak was amazing.
Him learning to wink was so cute.
Winking is good, yeah.
Adora being like, "Did you just wink at me?"
So good. Can we before we end though? Can we talk about Entrapped Attack because like. As much as Gay loves Save the World, Entrapped Attack also kind of saved the world because Hordak shooting his big brother off the platform, like it, saved the world as much as She-Ra did, and that's amazing and kind of hilarious to me.
It was very. My fiance pointed this out. The amount of Star Wars references in this season was ridiculous. And then he just totally Luke Skywalker's Darth Vader him. It's so good.
So good.
So good.
He's been carrying around her stone thing, and when he sees her, he's like what have you done to me? He's just like that. It's so amazing. He's like, okay, maybe you should leave so that I can discard these unpleasant feelings and memories, and it's just so good. Also, I wasn't I talked about they could have just killed Hordak off, but then I think that it's stupid. It's so stupid because they're all clones, but I was like, that's Hordak every time. Yeah. He's a special one, and she notices that it's him, and it's just, oh my god, it's so stupid on a level, and it is still kind of a cracky ship, but it's a ship, and I totally.
No, it's not crack. It's canon now.
It's
not
crack.
I'm sorry,
canon and crack, Dylan.
I don't think so. Is that is that how that works?
Yeah.
The best thing that ever happened was Marissa being like, "Are we just okay with this?" So good.
Marissa's he's done a lot of stuff though. Are we really just gonna let this go? But I guess so. I guess it's gonna be fine.
I guess so. They're given Entrapped Attack given the plot importance at the end to justify it. Not given this climactic kiss or anything, but I think this is
it's a hetero. It's implied. They don't need a smooch. It's fine.
It's true.
No love declaration. He says, friend, they have a lot to get to get romantic.
He doesn't know the word love yet. He's Hordak. He's been
does Hordak not know what love means?
Hey, don't put all this on Hordak. Do you think Entrapped
Entrapped is patient. She doesn't need it right away. She knows.
Wait. Okay, post finale fic, Entrapped is studying Catra and Adora together, taking notes to try to understand what she wants with.
But also Hordak's there with her, and they're taking notes together.
Yeah,
they're both trying to learn how to love.
And they're like, okay, I'll be Catra, and you'll be Adora.
Acting it out
It would be so amazing.
Someone's definitely writing that. That's Where are they in the future vision? Are they in the palace too?
They're in the basement making robots and stuff together.
I'm sorry, the future thing was so good.
So, oh my god, everyone's clothes are amazing, but especially Catra's shoulder jacket. Oh my god,
that Adora's always wears. It's so cute.
And Adora finally has horde clothes on, for once, a really cute dress. She's finally letting go of that old part of her life. It's a relief.
Only in her dreams. Dang it. Okay. Maybe it's canon. Delaney, anything else from the season final?
Extremely important is every time Bo is oh my god, you're so cute to Catra is
yes.
And oh my god, I'm so mad at Entrapped for making their spacesuits. Bo's literally has he has a crop spacesuit.
And Entrapped has holes for her hair to come out of.
And then Catra has cat ears. It's literally
Catra's cat
How did
suits
they make that for
season.
her so quickly?
It's so good.
She needs to put her ears somewhere. Makes sense.
And then and also Entrapped gave herself a boob window in space.
Oh, I need to rewatch for that. I don't remember that.
I think it's all designs. I think it's not. Yeah, it's all
great.
It's so good.
Gotta have priorities in space.
Yeah, but any other thoughts, Delaney?
I'm just like, I wasn't a Castrador shipper, but I'm fully on board.
What would you rate fic of post-season? If you
Okay,
would it be Castrador or Glimmador?
It's gonna be Castrador. Like, I'm sorry. You act like I'm not gonna get off this podcast and immediately start reading it. I would write Glimmador fics because I was reading a lot coming up before this week, and like there is like a deficit of Glimmador fics.
Yeah.
Like,
you'd think that would be one of the most popular ones.
No, it's
shit,
literally like it's all Castrador, which is fine. But like there was like no Glimmador fics.
Well, now you get the finale AUs where it happens. So
my god.
We'll get that.
Oh.
Okay. Michelle, final thoughts.
It's a really good season. It's a really good show. I still can't believe Catcher got cat. I can't believe Scorpia's gonna I didn't see it coming, but like when Perfuma was like talking to Catra about like how why she thought Scorpio was so great and how she believed she would come back, and just like that kind of positive affirmation is exactly what Scorpio was missing when she was, in love with Catra, and like Perfuma is absolutely going to give that to her in spades, and I'm just so excited for them to find their love together. It was great to see both dads again. I didn't expect them to contribute to the plot, but they did in a big way, which was nice. Like, the show spent a lot of time, like, Frasta got stuff, like, Perfuma got stuff, Mermista got stuff, like, a lot of characters gotta have moments, which, like, again, for a show that's not very long and for only 13 episodes, I wasn't anticipating them to give so much weight to. Like, Natasha and Spinnerella really got so much.
We didn't talk about that. This was
the
best season by far.
They had pretty sidelined before, so, like, I just seeing them totally, like, be badass with their, like, wind and nets and stuff, like, that was pretty amazing. Like, some of the best animated stuff, for sure, just for an action sequence was with them. That was all nice. We got Double Trouble again. Like, I feel like everyone... Like, I wish we'd had a little more on Tara, but, she wasn't, like, a super major character.
As soon as Peekaboo
we got
came around, I was
like...
There was this amazing background character with just, like, abs for days. This one lady with just abs, like, just everywhere. Do you remember what I'm talking about? She had, like, some kind of purple, like, corset on, but then just so many abs. And she kept showing up in the background of shots, and I was just like,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Girl. I'll find her for you. She's iconic. Okay. But, I mean, I love that she was in it.
Oh, we didn't talk about Adora's arms.
Adora's arms.
Oh my gosh, that arm definition.
Oh,
like her arms in that outfit are so prominent. It gave me Korra flashbacks. It was so nice.
Tits.
I'm not an arm person, but I will be for Adora.
Right? Exactly. She makes it want to
I am so big gay for new She-Ra outfit. Big gay.
I love her pants. I love her platformers. They're going to be so much easier to walk in than heels. Like, so good.
And they keep focusing on the boots. You know that we like the boots. They know that we like the boots. Like every time they're like, "Oh, pin up," and I'm like, "You do this on purpose. You're doing this on purpose."
You've given me those boots. Give them to me.
I had kind of expected that Adora would maybe reach out to like her birth family or something, or that we get more clues. But like I really liked ultimately that they didn't focus on that, because I think Adora deciding that like she's an Etherean now and this is her found family and that's like the family she's known and loved and needs. She doesn't need more than that or more answers. It's like kind of beautiful in a way. And like I like that too, because it's like, yeah, you can find your own community. If you've never known anything else, like what you have is like perfectly good, and you can find it for yourself. You can invite your Catra to be in it too, and then you got everything.
Your Catra,
yeah.
They dead, which is sad, but yeah.
What? Oh, her family. Oh yeah.
No,
that's true.
Dead. Yeah, I thought we could get some like, are there still other first ones out there? No. Like we can explore more of the first ones.
They've been dead for like 1,000 years.
Yeah, no, they're dead. Yeah. That's fine. April, final thoughts.
Oh man, I'm really proud of myself for not crying during this.
Good job.
Good job not crying. Good job for not throwing up.
I'm like, how could you not?
But like, I'm just so like satisfied with how this ended. Like, I love that everything just got nicely wrapped up. And it was good that we got, because for a show that has like a cast of so many characters, we did get to touch on everyone, and I thought that was really kind of nice.
You can't write fan fiction this good. Like,
yeah, like you really can't, like not even if like the 5 best fan fiction writers ever got together, then there's no way.
it couldn't be this good.
Yeah, it just couldn't. So I just like, I'm just in awe. Like, I can't wait to like rewatch everything with like again, because I just did rewatch all of the episodes.
I thought you already started it.
So I
no.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Thank you, Dylan, for calling me out. But like, yeah, like this was just such a good finale, like great final season. Like I would argue that this is like the best season of this show. And yeah, sad it's over.
Sad it's yeah. Well,
But so happy that it happened.
I'm just gonna rewatch it. It's not over.
Yeah, I'm
so
gonna rewatch it until it Netflix is worn out. You can't can't rewind it anymore.
Yeah.
You break Netflix. That's what it's really about.
Good. We got to get it into the top 10. I didn't see it in the top 10 yet. That's a new Netflix thing.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
only been
That'd be
it's less than
exciting.
24 hours.
I know.
Patience.
I don't know what the
Like
top 10
24
refers
hours
to.
update, okay?
Yeah, I don't know how. It
Dead
works,
to
so
Me
maybe.
season 2 is still doing the round, so give it time.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
near the top. Yeah. Yeah, great last season of She-Ra. Good discussion on everything. Still very hype about it. Yeah.
No one else might go.
Okay. That's a bold statement. Just throwing that in there. Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of good stuff on Noelle's Twitter recently.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Like the content she gives us, like feed us, please.
I love her.
Oh my gosh, yes.
A lot of good stuff. Now I'm just really excited for the post finale fix. Now that we started.
Oh my god! I know.
They're gonna be so good.
Please, everyone write everything. Even
No,
like
but-
I need the quadruple one.
Yeah.
Like,
Ooh.
I need
Well, they're
that.
going on that road trip, right?
Wants
To like
to
help
ride
other
it.
planets.
Yes,
They're
I
gonna
need
fall in
that.
love with each other all again in space in the ship.
Oh
Like,
god.
What
Part of
happens in
it-
space? You know.
Oh my god! Part of me wants to write it, but I'm also like, I can't go through
Write
this.
it.
Write it. Write
Okay.
it for me.
We'll see what
Rona,
happens,
it's the
guys.
perfect time to write fan fiction inside.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I bet the first 10 fics are all Kyle, Rogelio, and the baby though.
Oh,
Because,
yeah.
I mean,
I
absolutely.
think
Also,
Kyle
just
needs
letting
to tell
that out.
Rogelio how he feels. He needs to come out and tell him.
Maybe they did it in the background. It's fine.
I can't
did they?
believe, like, that was
Maybe.
like, I
Oh my
literally
God.
could not wait. Like, when Scorpio said that, I was like, oh my god. Like,
Yeah, Scorpio said a crush on Rogelio. Yeah,
oh my god. Which is like the best, most beautiful thing. Like,
everyone be furries on this world. Though, honestly, like, come on.
He's a lizard.
he can even
Yeah,
be
that's a
furry.
type of furry.
He's
Scaly,
a lizard. He has
scaly.
a full.
Don't say
scaly.
that. Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
See?
Okay. That's then.
Okay,
That's
half the population are animals. Are you really a furry?
Is that
Like,
that's not a is that how that works? I don't know. Where did Catcher come from? Where are the other cats?
who
Okay, anyway.
knows?
Don't
We'll
worry
find out.
about
We'll find out
it.
never.
Yeah, don't think about it. It's
Other
fine.
cat-
Yeah.
Okay, that's the issue you have. We have clones, Dylan. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's the
It
issue.
doesn't
That is the
matter.
issue. Yeah.
Also, it's not like Hordak's like human. Like, I don't even know. Like, they're weird little
Yeah,
aliens.
what is Hordak? Where are all the other
Well,
Hordaks?
Hordak's a clone, but like,
Well, he probably killed. He probably killed all the other
Where are the
ones.
other Horde Primes?
you're right.
Yeah. Look. Horde
How many Horde Primes
Prime.
come into existence?
He's
There
from
was
an ancient
story.
species.
There was
Catra is
old
on the
man-
planet right now.
There was the old man Horde Prime that was in the tube where he got the old memories from. He had all
Yeah,
the
old
eyes,
man,
so
yeah.
that was his big brother, I guess.
Yeah. Past hymns. Yeah. Probably.
Also,
okay.
I didn't realize little sister could be like the scariest. Like,
Man,
So Colty,
no one better ever
Six.
call me little sister.
like I can't do
I
it.
will fight them.
Was Horde Prime calling Catra
Catra.
Onichan or
oh my god,
Imutos
don't,
Imoto-san?
Shut
do
up.
not.
That's-
Get out of
Where's
Oh,
the Japanese
shut
Japanese
up.
She-Ra?
Oh,
It'll be
no.
better. It'll be better there.
God.
Okay, that's it. Let us know your thoughts on podcast, overlyanimated.com, youtube.com/overlyanimated. Talk about She-Ra on our Discord. A lot of discussion going on our Discord about She-Ra at overlyanimated.com/discord, and consider supporting us via Patreon at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thanks to all our current patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, John, and thanks always to our patron exec producers, Ryan Stevox, features Hugh, Michael, and Needle. Probably some more She-Ra podcasts coming up, so check that out in the She-Ra feed on our YouTube, etc. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.